give them time. But do we complain? Do we make excuse why we cannot help them in something, or go help them cut weeds, or do something to help them in other ways? And then we're wondering why we're not growing. We're wondering why we're not going nowhere. We're wondering why God's not blessing. Are we really loving? Are we really, by the definition of deed and truth, love? Are we really, truthfully? Or are we going to be like Jeremiah-type people that's going to sit here and say, we're not so bad? And if you are, then you're going to be ready to kill me. Because that's what they was ready to do to Jeremiah. They was ready to kill him because, hey, I'm close enough. You're an idiot. I'm going to make it. You're wrong. I'm doing the best I can do, so forth and whatever. That's between you and God. But you know where you're at. If you're loving the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, and all thy mind, He's number one. And you'll do whatever He asks, whenever He asks, and you'll be loving others. You'll be putting them before you. You'll be putting what they need before you. You'll be doing it. And you'll be putting others before you. If you're going to follow those first two commandments. Then He said that's when the truth dwells in you. And what have we said? If we lack knowledge, we're captive. What sets us free? Truth. He said, then the truth dwell in you. Truth will set you free. How do we get set free? We've got to start loving. We've got to start breaking free and becoming the loving people that God wants us to be and overcome all these things. I was going to read 1 John 4, but I'll just read verse 20 of chapter 4 of 1 John, because it's simple as this right here. This is how simple God put it. 1 John 4:20, He said, if a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth his brother whom he hath seen, loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? We've read that many times. But man, if you cannot love the people you see, He's saying, you can't love me, says God. If we can't love God, then we can't obey the first commandment. And then we ain't obeying the second commandment. Where does that put us in judgment? Where does that put us? And God is trying to put us in a serious place that we realize the difference of where we're going, where we're headed. That whatever we're going to have to do, we're going to have to shake our foundations, people. And we're going to have to wake ourselves up, and don't make excuse why we can't love. Don't make excuse saying that we're like the Jeremiah-type people. We're not so bad after all. I'm not calling you bad people. I'm just telling you what God's telling me to tell you. That if you're judged right now, and you stand before the Spirit of truth, are you going to... Many people, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a person that will not accept the truth, this is what you'll do. You will automatically begin to make excuse why you could not obey that. You'll begin to say how busy you was, or I've done pretty good most of the time, but... Or it's not really me. I've done, I'm not a bad person, etc., blah, 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 is how you will do it. And I'm going to tell you what you are. You're a person that's not accepting the truth. You are a Jeremiah-type person right now. That is what you are. Because the truth is the truth, and you can do nothing for the truth but the truth. God is either number one or He's not. You either love Him with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, or you don't. There is not one day you can, one day you can't. There is not half the year you can, half the year you can't. We either do it or we don't. But if you're a person that will not accept the truth, you automatically begin to make excuses why, like the Jeremiah people was doing. You begin to make a valid, very good excuse why you're too busy. God understands. I got to work. He understands this. He understands that. Let me tell you something. We may be even in the wrong job. Have we even asked God if we're in the right job? Have we even asked God if we're doing the right things? Or have we just assumed that this is what we're supposed to be doing? And we've made ourselves so busy that we don't even have time to do the works of God. But people will make valid excuses. And they've got good excuses. We got some wonderful, worldly, carnal excuses. Wonderful. But when it comes down to spirit, which is truth, we're not going to line up. We're not going to pass. We're not going to make it. And you can make your excuses. But when you stand before Him, they're not going to stand. And He's asking you, please, listen to me. I read Jeremiah, and it said he went to the mountains and cried and said, God, what can I do? They're not getting it. What can I do? Lord, help me, help me, help me. Isaiah, God, help me. What can I do? Moses, Lord, what can I do to help these people? All these prophets, all these times kept saying, God, what can I do to help these people? What can I do? He said, you can't. If I can't do it, you can't. You just give what I give. They either accept or they don't. You just got to work it out for yourself. You got to work on your own self. I can't save you. You can't save me. I've got to realize that I'm failing these commandments. And I've got to fix it. Or I'm going to split hell wide open. We better realize that we fall under that lukewarm church. We say, but we know not. How do we fix it? I counsel you, buy of me gold tried in fire. Anoint your eyes with eyesight. It takes time. You've got to start correcting yourself. When you find out you're not loving, start fixing it. When you're going down the road and you realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm not loving, I've got to fix this. It's not going to be an overnight fix. It's not going to be an overnight answer. But it's things that we got to start doing now. We got to leave here right now making a change in our life. If you do not like the results of your life, change. You want to know how to change? Change the way the Word says change. You want to fulfill what God has for you? Do it the way He says do it. If you're satisfied with the way things are and the way this church is, just keep sitting back the way you are, then this is what you're going to get. But if we will obey God, begin to be in prayer like John has been trying to teach us. Get in prayer and find out what God wants. We got plenty of talents here. We do. We got plenty of gifted people. We got plenty of things to do. God will tell us who, what, when, where. I'm not convinced that church service should always be Wednesday night at 7, Sunday at 10, and Sunday at 6. I'm not convinced of that yet. I told you, I ain't convinced we got it right yet. But I am convinced that we are a high-called people. And I am convinced that God wants to do a mighty work through us and has a high vision for us. I am convinced of that. But I know the only way we're going to be able to do it is change. We can keep sitting back, waiting on God to bring them through the door, and this is as good as it gets. Or we can start loving people, inviting people and loving them and watch this church grow and watch it become what God wants it to become. Praying and asking God how to use